the Australian government seems to be about to ban social media for people under 16.
Yeah, it's really bad for adults too. It's bad for everybody. So maybe we should just ban social media entirely.
They are looking for ways to put the onus on the social media companies as opposed to the parents. So my second story here is somebody launched a wooden satellite. This isn't a joke.
I don't know about that guy saying building space habitats out of wood. I don't know if wood is airtight.
Even if this isn't like a viable thing to use for a satellite, do the radiation or any number of things. Might be interesting to see what happens to the wooden space. Hey, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show called How the Tech Are You? I'm producer Dave. As the name might imply, I'm the producer of all the shows at Eplex Media and then the co-producer and co-host of this show. I don't know. Check out my website. It's echoplexmedia.com. There's great stuff on the blog that doesn't ever infuriate. So I got two stories this week. The first one is that the Australian government seems to be about to ban social media for people under 16. Prime Minister's office says the bill builds upon the Australian government's work to address online harms for young people, including the $6.5 million age assurance trial establishing an online dating apps code, legislating new criminal penalties for non-consensual deepfakes, and quadrupling base funding for the e-safety commissioner. Prime Minister's office has been working on this for months, but only in the last few weeks did legislation have the needed support from their legislature, Congress. This will be introduced to Parliament in the coming weeks, but it will not go into effect until 2025. As it sits, this applies to Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X/Twitter, but that list does not mean that it cannot or will not to apply to other platforms, including, for example, the big one would be YouTube. And the Prime Minister said, I want the parents to be able to say, sorry, mate, it's against the law for me to get you an account on this platform. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work.
It's not.
But I'm very torn on this because we know that social media has been really bad for teens in general.
Adults.
Yeah, it's really bad for adults too. It's bad for everybody. So maybe we should just ban social media entirely.
So the thing that I didn't put in my notes that was mentioned in the article is that they are looking for ways to put the onus on the social media companies as opposed to the parents and the teenager.
That's good.
It sounds like a difficult challenge.
Basically age verification kind of thing.
Yeah, age verification. That would be very, I think a lot of sites, any site that has sexual content should have age verification.
A lot of them do, and it's just, are you 18? Good, here you go.
Right. Well, I don't mean
not
porn.
Quite the same.
I mean, porn is a different thing. Just like, there's sexualized content that is not pornography, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it works, but that's because I'm not 14, right? If I was 14, I would be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So, Australia's been out ahead on a lot of this stuff as far as the social media companies go. They've like I mentioned, they're building on stuff they've already done. Particularly,
right.
They had mentioned age verification for where to go. A code for some kind of code for online dating apps, which I didn't look into or whatever. But hopefully that includes age verification. We'll see. This won't go into effect until next year, if you in fact believe in next year.
Right.
So I got another story. Oh, unless I was stepping on you.
No, that's it. I was just saying. Don't know if next year is going to happen.
I hope so.
But we hope so.
I'll be 48. It'll be fun. So I have my second story here is somebody launched a wooden satellite. This isn't a joke. When I first saw it, I was like, this is a joke. No, this isn't a joke. I thought this is like some version of that old don't pick up any wooden nickels joke. No, this isn't a joke. This comes from The Verge. This is the first wooden satellite launched into space. This is a test to see if wood can withstand the stress of being in space. LingoSat, named after the Latin for wood, was launched on Monday, November 4th. That'd be a week ago as the day of recording here. With timber, a material we can produce by ourselves, we will be able to build houses, live and work in space forever, a Japanese astronaut told Reuters. Not sure I can live in this. The type of wood is used is called Hunoki, and it's a type of magnolia. Obviously, with no atmosphere, the wood can't catch on fire. But testing will be done, among other things, to see how well, if at all, the wood protects any of the components in the satellite from radiation.
So, yeah, I saw another article on this or a video, I don't remember which, that went into it. There's another reason why they actually picked wood for this instead of, metal, and that they're testing it out. And that's simply because well, you said that wood doesn't catch on fire because there's no atmosphere up there. But actually, if the satellite starts deorbiting, which most satellites eventually do, go into the upper atmosphere, they're going to heat up and actually burn away. And the main reason they wanted to use wood is if that happens to the wood, the satellite's already decommissioned, right? It should burn up pretty much completely in the atmosphere, leaving little toxic material in the atmosphere. That was another big bonus for it. But I don't know about that guy saying building space habitats out of wood. I don't know if wood is airtight.
So this is also, there's a little bit of like, there could be some stuff that got lost in translation here, right? Because this is Japanese being translated into English. I'm not saying the translation is bad. I'm saying there may be sarcasm or kind of jokes that got lost in translation here. Just kind of
fair enough.
Not just the translation, but just like cultural differences between Japanese and American people. That might have been a joke.
Fair enough.
that that you just don't catch. Like but I don't want to live in a wooden space house.
No, wouldn't want to do that.
I don't even want to go into space. It just sounds like a big hassle.
I mean, I would be interested in going into space for the experience, but I mean, right now it's just really rich people going, and I don't really. And the people who allow that kind of space tourism are a bunch of nice rich jerks. People. Yeah,
and I think even if this isn't like a viable thing to use for a satellite, do the radiation or any number of things. Might be interesting to see what happens to the wood in space. I mean, the way this stuff works is, you send this wood into space. Maybe we learn something about wood or space, or like this. It could be used some other way in the future because we know something new about the property of wood, or how it behaves in a vacuum, or what's going on with it in zero-G environments. It may be that the next space station that goes up has more wood in it than the previous one because we learned something about wood and how it behaves in like a microgravity environment, and it's better than plastic or metal for this, that, or the other reason. Although inside a spacecraft, the wood could catch fire.
Yes, especially the high oxygen environment inside a spacecraft. However, I was just thinking, so some of the things that you just mentioned there, wood is known for being a pretty good insulator. Like it doesn't transmit heat very quickly. So for like exterior of a spacecraft, that's spinning in space and has to be, exposed to direct sunlight sometimes, it might actually be a good thing, and it's not going to burn, but it may slow down a heating process. But also, with the satellite, if you have it clad in wood, like you don't have to worry about it being airtight. It's there to, in the interior of a satellite, it doesn't really matter. So it's just there for protection kind of thing. So,
the big question is the radiation, I guess, and the semiconductors and stuff inside this. Like if the radiation just goes right through the wood, well, then there goes your computer.
Right.
So, and that's, I guess they don't know that they. Yeah. It seemed like they had some reason to believe that this particular kind of wood, or a wood like it, might be an okay insulator for the radiation. Who knows? I just thought it was interesting, and
it is.
It's very interesting. The problem though, like with wood, is versus plastic, it's probably going to be heavier. If it's going to be just as strong as like plastic or metal, it's probably going to be much heavier. Yeah. And the cost of getting stuff into space is going down, but that doesn't mean you want to just be like, well, we'll just make it out of oak.
Yeah. But then again, it just depends on the properties of the wood and whether or not it's useful for what you're doing. Because again, if it's supposed to be like an insulator, that might be something that the wood is good for, both being strong and insulative. While, metal or steel or something is going to be much stronger, but it's going to heat right up and just cause everything to be hot.
Right. It transmits the heat. It doesn't. I mean, it's not 100% obviously, but it's not metal tends not to be a good insulator. Basically, anything that conducts electricity will tend to conduct heat.
But again, I'm not a space scientist or a material science scientist, so who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, good on them. And the picture in the article, it shows like a satellite that is also a tree, which is stupid. But
yeah, well, yeah, because generated by AI, I assume.
Yeah, it's just it was probably made by AI. They're like, what does a wooden satellite look like? And they're like, here's a tree in space.
Tree in space. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not AI actually. It's by an artist. But whatever. This was interesting. I'm curious. I mean, this might be one of those things that you never hear about again, though.
That's true. No. if you're like in the space community, you may hear about it, but we may not hear about it again. Whether or not any tests are successful, if they deorbit it, they see if it actually appropriately burns up entirely in the atmosphere upon reentry, that sort of stuff.
That is the interesting part, because you don't have to, you don't want the satellite re-entering the atmosphere when you don't want it to, but once you've decommissioned it, if it's made of wood, you're right, it's just going to burn up. And then because the structure of the satellite is where most of the stuff is, right? Like the semiconductors are small, and that stuff, that's as soon as the wood burns up, a motherboard ain't going to do so good going through coming into the atmosphere at that kind of speed either. So yeah, we'll see. I'd say we'll keep an eye on it, but that might be a lie. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to How the Tech Are You? We do this every week. It gets posted Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. Unlike the satellite that we talked about, we don't run a very tight ship around here. You can support this project. Just go to echoplexmedia.com, click the support link at the top of the website, and you can find ways to do that there. There will be links here that you are required to click, or your computer will burn up as if it was going through the atmosphere. Have a great tech-in week.